The cameras flashed. The crowd outside just completely froze. And just like that, Hollywood had its brand new obsession.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the anticipation was just off the charts.
Right. Welcome to StarScope Report. Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and, viral influencer scandals. From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today's deep dive is, well, it's about the definitive social event of the decade. We are unpacking the highly secretive, massive July 3, 2026 wedding of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce at Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, and we are going to look at everything. We've got a huge stack of sources today: entertainment reports, sports news, detailed YouTube breakdowns.
Which we definitely need, considering how tight security was.
Oh, for sure. But our mission today is to figure out how a billionaire pop star and an NFL superstar actually pulled off an event of this magnitude. Like hosting over 1,000 A-listers while balancing extreme celebrity status with, honestly, some hilarious and highly personal touches.
Yeah, and the whole thing actually starts with a viral moment that caught everyone completely off guard.
It really did. So picture this: four-time Super Bowl champion Rob Gronkowski is standing at the heavily guarded doors of Madison Square Garden. And as he steps through the metal detectors, he casually drops a bombshell to the press pool. The YouTube title for this clip literally says it all. Rob Gronkowski admits why he's skipping Taylor and Travis's wedding gift.
Which is just wild to say on camera.
Right. He showed up completely, utterly empty-handed. No gift. No card. Like absolutely nothing.
It is the ultimate social nightmare for most people. I mean, we are conditioned from childhood that you never, ever walk into a celebration empty-handed. It violates a core tenet of basic etiquette.
Yeah, I have to be honest here. If I get invited to an event of this magnitude, I don't care what the invitation says. I am sneaking a gift in.
Really? You would break the rule?
Oh, 100%. The social anxiety of walking past A-list celebrities without so much as a gift bag would just destroy me. It feels incredibly rude. So why on earth would you enforce a rule that actively makes your guests uncomfortable?
Well, according to the sources, you have to consider the specific psychology of their guest list. You have to look at the socioeconomic reality of the people in that room.
Okay, meaning what exactly?
Meaning when you invite literal billionaires and the highest paid entertainers on the planet, a gift is no longer a meaningful gesture of support, right? It becomes a mechanism for status signaling. It turns into this unspoken competition of who can buy the most outrageous, exclusive item.
Oh, wow. I didn't even think of it like that. So by banning gifts, they are essentially disarming their own guests.
Precisely. They neutralize the wealth of the room. I mean, a traditional registry exists to help a young couple build a life together. This couple does not need help building a life.
No, definitely not.
So by completely removing the expectation of material exchange, they stripped away the structural hierarchy that usually dictates these high society events. You literally can't buy your way into being the best guest.
Though some people certainly tried to find a workaround. I mean, weeks before the wedding, San Francisco 49ers tight end George Kittle was already joking to the media about exploiting a loophole.
Oh, right, the coin thing.
Yeah. He said he was hunting for a rare, expensive old coin just because Travis happens to like them.
Which just highlights how desperate people are to maintain that tradition of giving. They need to give something.
Exactly. But Gronk is a rule follower. He brought nothing but his girlfriend, Camille Kostek. And because they weren't busy managing a giant gift box, they apparently spent the entire reception on a hilarious side quest.
This was my favorite part of the reports.
It's so funny. They took it upon themselves to play matchmaker for Gronk's former Patriots teammate, Julian Edelman. Edelman attended as a third wheel, and Gronk spent the night pointing out guests and telling him, go for it, Julian.
Did it work?
They had no luck at all. But Gronk noted that Julian doesn't really need luck because he's a, quote, beautiful-looking kid.
That is a great anecdote because it shows the immediate effect of the no-gift policy. It forces the guests to focus on the interpersonal experience rather than the transactional one.
Yeah, but if you take away the transactional nature of the guests giving gifts to the couple, there is a massive vacuum. And based on our sources, the couple didn't just leave that vacuum empty.
Oh, definitely not.
If guests weren't allowed to bring presents, they were going to have to work for the presents they were about to be given. And that's not even the wildest part. If you're loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you're subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead in this deep dive.
Yeah, because we have to talk about the gamification of the wedding reception. This is where the event fundamentally departed from anything resembling a traditional gala.
Yeah, so instead of a standard party favor like, a little bag of custom chocolates waiting at your seat, they hosted competitive, high-stakes games. Guests actually had to play to earn raffle tickets.
And the prizes weren't novelty items either.
No, we are talking about Cartier watches, Chanel bags. Jackie Tranquil, who is married to Chiefs linebacker Drew Tranquil, actually won a Chanel bag valued at $6,700.
Wait, really? She won a Chanel bag at a wedding?
Yes. She posted a photo of her winning ticket on social media, which had a custom TNT winner logo stamped on it.
And suddenly, that little piece of paper becomes a highly coveted piece of pop culture memorabilia.
Oh, absolutely. But the grand prize was the real showstopper. It was a pristine 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle.
Oh, man.
And it was outfitted with a custom license plate that read, "Just TNT MRD," which is a brilliant Easter egg because that is the exact model of vintage muscle car they were seen driving away in after their very first public date back in 2023.
That is such a specific, cool detail. And Gronkowski actually admitted he was fiercely competing in these games just to win something for his girlfriend.
He did. But I need to stop and challenge the underlying concept here for a second.
I see too.
We are talking about a wedding that likely cost millions of dollars to stage. You have world leaders in entertainment and sports in attendance. Doesn't turning your reception into a makeshift adult arcade cheapen the elegance of the night?
I mean, I see why you would think that.
It sounds like a corporate retreat or a high school fundraiser.
Yeah.
Do billionaires really want to play carnival games in their custom tuxedos?
It sounds counterintuitive, I know, but it is actually a genius behavioral reset. Think about how high-status individuals operate in public. They are constantly guarded, heavily curated, and highly aware of the cameras.
Right.
If you put 1,000 of these people in a ballroom with a string quartet, they will inevitably self-segregate. The athletes will go to one corner, the musicians to another, the film executives to the bar. They will fall back into their rigid industry cliques.
So they just stay in their comfort zones.
Exactly. But if you introduce a high-stakes game, you completely shatter that performative stiffness. Suddenly, you have a massive NFL defensive lineman yelling over a pop star to win a raffle ticket for a vintage car.
That is such a funny visual.
Gamification forces vulnerability. It demands that they stop acting like CEOs and celebrities and start acting like playful, competitive human beings. Furthermore, by giving away luxury cars and Cartier, the couple firmly establishes themselves as the ultimate benefactors of the evening. They aren't receiving, they are providing.
Okay, I see the psychological benefit. But a behavioral reset is one thing. The physical environment is another. To house a literal arcade, a car giveaway, and 1,000 guests, you need an unfathomable amount of square footage.
Which is why they rented Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, and I am having a hard time imagining a romantic, intimate wedding taking place in the exact same spot where the Knicks play basketball.
Well, Madison Square Garden is a cavernous, cold, concrete arena. It is designed for volume, not intimacy. So the architectural manipulation required here is just staggering.
The logistics alone are a nightmare. According to the reports, there were massive street closures, NYPD lockdowns, and enormous shrouded objects being wheeled in under the cover of darkness days in advance.
It was basically a military operation.
Literally. But the visual transformation inside is what fascinates me. They didn't just put some tables on the basketball court. Guests walked in to find the stadium seating completely masked by miles of peach and white draping.
Wow!
Yeah, and there were plush pink staircases built over the concrete. And leading up to the main space, there was a physical timeline of childhood photos for both Taylor and Travis, going year by year.
You know, that specific detail, the childhood photos, that does a massive amount of heavy lifting.
Oh, so?
Because when you are standing inside an arena that holds 20,000 people, the scale can make an individual feel incredibly small and disconnected. The draping physically shrinks the room, yes, but a timeline of childhood photos emotionally grounds the space.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
It forces the guests to remember that despite the Chanel giveaways and the extreme security, they are ultimately there to witness two human beings combining their lives. It softens the hyper-competitive energy of the gamified reception.
And the ceremony space itself went even further. One guest actually described it as a, quote, lush countryside retreat built directly over the arena floor.
Inside Madison Square Garden.
Inside the garden. They brought in real massive trees. The floral arrangements were hyper-specific, Queen Anne's lace and sweet peas just everywhere. They stamped everything with a custom TNT crest featuring linked hearts. And the fashion, it matched this incredibly bespoke, highly tailored environment.
Ooh, the sartorial choices were a narrative device all their own.
Travis was in a sharp, pristine white tuxedo. Taylor wore a custom Christian Dior haute couture gown designed by Jonathan Anderson. It featured a massive veiled train paired with custom Christian Louboutin shoes.
Which makes sense, given she wears them for all her rigorous Eras Tour performances. You know those were engineered for dancing.
Absolutely. And she topped it off with a Cartier jewelry.
The selection of Jonathan Anderson for Dior is a really critical detail here. This was his first ever couture bridal gown for an A-list celebrity.
Really? First ever?
Yeah. They didn't go to a traditional bridal designer. They chose someone known for pushing boundaries and making high-fashion statements. It perfectly encapsulates their brand, deeply respectful of classic elegance, but entirely unwilling to be constrained by old-school rules.
Right.
They didn't just rent a nice venue. They constructed an entirely bespoke, hyper-personalized world inside an otherwise public arena.
So they've built this highly curated, visually stunning fortress. But getting 1,000 powerful, notoriously restless people to sit still and genuinely care about the ceremony itself is a completely different challenge.
Oh, absolutely.
And this is where they really started breaking the traditional wedding playbook. Later in the deep dives, we'll talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming regarding the gifts. But first, the ceremony.
Yeah, they systematically dismantled the standard ceremony structure.
For starters, there was no massive symmetrical bridal party. They didn't have 10 bridesmaids in matching dresses and 10 groomsmen. Taylor simply had her brother, Austin Swift, stand as her man of honor.
I love that.
And Travis had his brother, Jason Kelce, as his best man. The Flighter girls were Jason and Kylie's kids. It was entirely family-centric. And then the vows.
Right, the vows.
They didn't do the standard 3-minute script. They exchanged 20-minute personal vows.
Which is an astonishing amount of time.
I mean, I can barely hold my family's attention for 3 minutes during a dinner toast.
Yeah.
How do you command an arena for 40 total minutes of vows?
You have to view it through the lens of modern attention spans. We live in an era of 15-second media consumption. To demand 40 minutes of unbroken silence from the most famous people on Earth is the ultimate flex of narrative control.
That is a fascinating way to look at it.
Because traditional vows are brief because they are a formality. A 20-minute vow is a deeply vulnerable performance. It forces the audience to submit to the couple's pacing. They are demanding that this massive room of celebrities stop thinking about their own public relations, stop looking at the clock, and simply sit and witness a raw, unfiltered story.
It demands total presence. And it probably helps that the person moderating the ceremony was Adam Sandler.
Wait, Adam Sandler officiated?
Yes. He officiated the wedding, performed a custom comedic song, and gave them the brilliantly simple advice to just, quote, keep kissing.
That is classic Sandler.
The contrast is amazing. You have the emotional weight of 40 minutes of vows, backed by a gorgeous string orchestra. But then the reception hits, and the entertainment lineup becomes something out of a pop culture fever dream.
It's the complete collapse of traditional celebrity boundaries, the transition from the sacred to the spectacular.
Totally. You have Paul McCartney getting up to sing I Want to Hold Your Hand, and reports say it was the first time he's performed that song solo in over 60 years.
That is literal music history happening at a wedding.
And then you have a full performance by Stevie Nicks. And then, leaning entirely into the chaos, they hosted late-night karaoke featuring Sabrina Carpenter and Ice Spice.
I mean, think about the social dynamics of this guest list.
It's insane. You have Brad Pitt, Selena Gomez, and Ed Sheeran. But they are sharing a dance floor with massive NFL defensive tackles and head coaches like Andy Reid.
Usually these distinct spheres of fame, the Hollywood bubble, the NFL machine, the music industry, they only ever intersect at highly rigid, televised events like the Oscars or the Met Gala.
Where everyone is heavily guarded because they are essentially on the clock.
Exactly. But here you have an enforced phone ban, no cameras, no live streams. You take away the structural hierarchy of a red carpet, you ban the devices they usually use to broadcast their status, and you throw them into a karaoke night.
And Gronkowski actually mentioned that everyone was just seamlessly mingling. You have an actor, a linebacker, and a pop star singing together because the pressure to perform for the outside world has been entirely removed.
It sounds incredible, but eventually this massive phoneless ecosystem of 1,000 celebrities is going to get hungry.
Oh, for sure.
And keeping a party of that scale energized until 2 in the morning requires a very specific approach to catering. I mean, if I am going to a billionaire's wedding at Madison Square Garden, I'm expecting the most pretentious, stuffy, 5-course plated dinner imaginable. I'm expecting tiny portions of foam and microgreens.
And a plated dinner is exactly what you do if you want to kill the momentum of a party, which is why they completely scrapped the formal dinner.
It did.
Yeah, instead, they opted for a massive, sprawling buffet. It was an incredibly eclectic mix. They had high-end sushi, filet mignon, and catering from Sartiano's, a very upscale Italian restaurant in Soho.
Okay, so keeping it somewhat fancy.
Wait, it gets better. Then they had 100 pizzas delivered personally by the owner of Mama's Tuo, which is a beloved local pizza spot.
Okay, this is a profound statement about prioritizing kinetic energy over convention.
How do you mean?
Well, a formal 5-course plated dinner is about control. It forces 1,000 people to remain seated at assigned tables for 2 to 3 hours. It dictates who they talk to and when they eat. It makes the event feel like a convention.
That's true.
A buffet, especially one featuring comfort food like pizza, encourages constant movement. It forces guests to get up, wait in line together, and interact with people outside their immediate circle. It signals to the room, we aren't here to be proper, we are here to have fun.
And the late-night treats kept that exact energy going. They brought in a crispy creme truck, an artisanal ice cream truck, and a dessert table featuring 30 different cakes.
30?
30. Each one was topped with a unique 3D figure of the couple. And when it was finally time for the guests to stumble out of the garden at 2 a.m., they didn't leave empty-handed.
Right, the favors. What do they get?
The favors were this crazy mix of high luxury and hyper-personalization. Velvet-boxed, diamond-adorned champagne flutes. Custom flamingo estate candles with T&T labels. And my personal favorite detail, delicate lace handkerchiefs embroidered with the wedding date, the linked heart's crest, and the lyric, "So it's gonna be forever."
A masterful blend of high-end branding and sentimental value.
But we have to look at the biggest takeaway from this event. Stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next, because the most impactful detail wasn't what the guests took home in their gift bags.
No, it was what the couple gave away to the rest of the world.
Exactly. This is where the story shifts from a massive party to a cultural statement. Instead of a registry, because, as we've established, they neutralized the wealth of their guests by refusing gifts, the couple celebrated their union by donating a staggering $26 million to 20 different charities.
$26 million. To put that into perspective, that is transformative. Generational wealth being redistributed in honor of a single evening.
It's unbelievable. The sources outline the recipients, and it covers a wide spectrum of causes that trace back to their own roots. Major food banks in New York and Kansas City, children's hospitals, music education programs like Grammy in the schools.
Incredible.
Animal welfare organizations. They even gave a massive grant to Dolly Parton's Imagination Library to fund children's literacy. They essentially turned their wedding into a nationwide philanthropic operation.
If we synthesize the sociology of everything we've discussed today, this philanthropic act is the capstone. Think about the traditional concept of a wedding. It is an event historically rooted in accumulation. You gather your community, and they give you goods and money to start your life.
Right.
This couple completely inverted that model.
They replaced accumulation with radical distribution.
Exactly. They utilized their immense cultural influence and capital not to acquire more for themselves, but to curate a radically generous experience for their loved ones and to generate a tangible, positive impact on a massive scale. It completely subverts the traditional power dynamics of a celebrity wedding.
It totally reframes how you look at the entire event. I mean, if you just read the headlines, Madison Square Garden, Dior Couture, Cartier watches given away as raffle prizes, 100 pizzas, it could easily read as an overwhelming, almost gross display of excess.
Oh, very easily.
But when you anchor that spectacle with 20-minute deeply personal vows, sibling-only bridal parties, and a $26 million donation to feed people and buy books for kids, it entirely changes the narrative.
It really does.
It proves that even at the absolute highest echelon of fame, authenticity and intention are what actually dictate how an event feels.
Because you can buy out Madison Square Garden, you can hire Paul McCartney, but you cannot buy the genuine, chaotic joy of an NFL champion frantically trying to win a carnival game.
That's so true.
The personal touches, the childhood photos, the relatable late-night food, the absolute refusal to enforce a rigid, formal dinner, These are the mechanisms that break down the walls of celebrity. They manage to make a massive, concrete stadium feel like an intimate backyard party because they prioritized human connection and playfulness over rigid tradition.
It really is a masterclass in event psychology. But it leaves me with one final provocative thought.
What's that?
We live in a modern era where celebrities are constantly monetizing their private lives. We see exclusive magazine deals for wedding photos, multi-part reality show specials, heavily sponsored Instagram posts for every major life milestone.
Right. Everything is content.
But this wedding, the phone ban was strictly enforced. There were no live streams, no red carpet broadcast, just a private, heavily guarded moment locked behind the concrete walls of an arena.
It forces us to reconsider what luxury actually means in the digital age. True luxury used to be about what you could show the world, the biggest diamond, the most exclusive guest list broadcast for everyone to see. Now, for the most famous people on the planet, true luxury is what you can successfully hide from the world.
The ability to say, this moment is strictly for the people in this room. It circles right back to Rob Gronkowski standing at the door. You walk into that room without a gift to offer and without a phone to document your presence. You can't buy your way into favor, and you can't broadcast your status to your followers. All you can do is just, be there, to experience it, to eat some pizza, listen to Adam Sandler, and maybe, just maybe, win a vintage Chevelle.
It strips away all the modern noise. It sounds like the perfect evening.
It really does. And for you listening, as you navigate your own week, whether you are planning a massive celebration or just having a few friends over for dinner, consider the mechanics of your own events.
Find the joy in it.
Right. Think about how you can break down the formalities. Look for ways to force playfulness. Order the pizza instead of stressing over a 5-course meal. Create moments that don't need to be photographed to be remembered. Because it turns out, even billionaires understand that the best part of the party is simply being present with the people you share it with.
You've been listening to StarScope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture. Thanks for tuning in. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.